Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'll be showing you how to make chicken francese. I think that this is a pretty simple recipe that tastes great and looks impressive for how easy it is to make. Let's get started. Now, of course, we'll first start off with our chicken. You will need 2 whole chicken breasts. Now I'm going to cut off whatever extra fat and tendons are on there just to make sure that these are completely clean. Now that they're all cleaned up, we're going to cut each chicken breast in half in the way that I'm showing you right now. Make sure that you have a very sharp knife because it'll make this process much easier. And once you're done, you'll have 4 thin cutlets. If you want even thinner pieces, you can take a tenderizer and flatten them out even more. But for today, I'm just going to stick with these because I'll be able to fit more pieces into the pan at one time. Now that these are ready, we're going to set them to the side for now to start on the next step. First, I'm going to switch out my cutting board. Then I'm going to grab 1 whole lemon and I'm going to cut this lemon into about 1/4 inch thick pieces. Now you can get rid of the ends and any slices that have too much white pith on them. I ended up with 8 slices, which is plenty. After slicing, you should also remove the seeds. You don't want to end up biting into one of them later. Okay, now that these are done, we're going to take them and set them to the side as well and start on our next step, which is coating the chicken. So grab a bowl that's wide enough for your chicken pieces and crack 2 whole eggs into it. Now give the eggs a quick scramble just to get the mixture going. We will then add 1 tablespoon of milk to the mixture and continue mixing everything together until it's all well combined. So now we'll move this over to the side just a little bit, then grab a plate and put about 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour on top of it. Now we're going to add a little bit of seasoning to it. All you need is about 1.5 teaspoons of salt. You can do more or less depending on your taste. And 1/2 teaspoon of ground black pepper. Now I'm just going to use my hands to mix together the salt and pepper into the flour so it's evenly distributed. Now we'll move over to the stove and start preheating the pan. This one's wide enough to fit all of the chicken and also deep enough to fit the sauce at the end. Once the pan is warm enough, add some oil to coat the entire surface. Then we'll go right back to the counter to start coating our chicken. Now we're going to start off by coating the chicken first with the flour on both sides. Shake off any excess flour, and then we're going to do 1 coating of egg. I know this is a little bit different than if you're making fried chicken, but this is how it goes. Once it's all covered in the egg, shake off any excess again, and then bring it right over to the pan. As you can see, the pan is hot enough so that the chicken starts sizzling as soon as it makes contact. If you see this, then you should have no issues with the chicken sticking to the pan. So we're going to cook the chicken for about 4 minutes on each side until you start to see it turn a nice golden brown. Once you see that brown color around the edges, now you know it's time to flip it. Now this is exactly the color that you should be looking for. So we'll do about 4 minutes again on this side. This could be a little bit more or less depending on how thick your chicken pieces are. So this is exactly what your chicken should look like at the end, with a nice brown color and crispy edges. Now that these first 2 pieces are done, I'm going to move them to a plate and then do the last 2 pieces that I have left. Alright, so here they are, all 4 pieces of chicken cooked. We're just going to let them sit here for now while we start to prepare the sauce. So now if your pan didn't get too dirty, you can move right on to the next step or start with a fresh pan. We will now add our lemon slices to the pan and very quickly brown them. They'll only need about a minute on each side, where they're going to brown a little bit, release some of their juices, and soften up just a little bit. As you can see, I didn't let them get too brown. There's just a little bit of color on them, and we're going to take them out now. Just be careful. As you can see, they can be slippery. I eventually figured out a method where I just kind of scoop them out. So now we have the cooked chicken with the cooked lemon on top. We're almost there. The only thing left to do now is make the sauce. So you can see now that the stuff was starting to get a little bit burnt on the pan, so I cleaned it and we're ready to go again. We will now start the sauce with 3 tablespoons of butter. I use unsalted so I can control the amount of salt I add later. So now we'll just wait until it melts all the way down. I give it a little bit of assistance here by moving it around the pan. Now that it's nearly all melted, I'm going to add 1.5 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. So now we're going to keep stirring this until it's all completely mixed together and the flour dissolves into the butter. During this time, you'll also see the entire mixture start to thicken. Once this mixture is all ready to go, I'm going to grab a bottle of dry white wine. I'm using a bottle of Chardonnay that I had, but you can use whatever you like. Remember that you're still going to have most of the bottle left to drink after. Right now, all we're going to need is half of a cup of the wine for the sauce, and that is going to be added to the butter and flour mixture. So now we'll start to stir the wine in until it's all fully incorporated and starts to cook down. When you first start to see some bubbles, that'll be the alcohol cooking off. And as we continue to heat it, you'll start to see the sauce thickening up. So we're going to continue cooking this for a few more minutes while constantly stirring until it's at the consistency that you see here. Now we're going to add 1.5 cups of chicken broth. Again, I use sodium free so I can just add my own salt and know how much is going in there. So continue to slowly pour out the broth while stirring until it's all in. Once it's all in, I'm going to stir for about another minute and then let it continue to keep heating up. During this time, I'm going to grab one more lemon and squeeze out 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. I always prefer to use fresh lemons and not prepackaged bottled juice. So you should get about a tablespoon of juice from 1/2 of the lemon. Let's measure it out right now. And yep, it's pretty much exactly at the 1 tablespoon line. So we're going to carry this over right to the sauce and add it in. And now that was the last liquid component of the sauce. So now we're just going to add about a teaspoon of salt. You could do more or less depending on your taste again. And now we're going to keep stirring and heating until we get to our desired consistency. So now I'm just going to let this sit for a minute or two. The heat is not too high, it's just boiling lightly. I just quickly need to chop some fresh parsley. You'll need somewhere around a tablespoon. So now we have the sauce right at the thickness that we want. Keep in mind that it shouldn't be so thick that it's like gravy, but it should slightly stick to a spoon or spatula. And now we're going to add our chicken into the sauce. This will warm them back up because they've been sitting for a little bit. And now on top of the chicken, we'll put our cooked lemon slices. It worked out here where I had 2 slices of lemon for each piece of chicken. So now I just grabbed a large spoon and used it to cover everything in the sauce. And now there's just one more thing left to do, which is to grab that parsley I just chopped and sprinkle it all over the top. And now that our garnish is on there, it's ready to be served. This looks so good, let's get one more angle of it. So now you can serve this with whatever side you want. Obviously you can do pasta, some potatoes, or some vegetables, but I'm not showing any of those in this video. Alright, so now it's time to serve and give it a taste. Of course, need to make sure I have enough sauce on there. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and keep it saved for one day when you want to make this. Please subscribe as well if you're interested in learning more in the future. I will keep uploading recipes. So here we are, just about ready to taste. Of course, I first have to pour a little bit of that wine I just opened up. And now we're ready to go. So thank you for watching. I hope you really enjoyed the video and you consider making this recipe one day. I thought it came out really great. I did this all around midnight, so sorry if I don't look quite so enthused. I hope to see you again soon.